Hey, YouTube world, we are back. I hope you are having a fantabulous day so far. All of our episodes are down below. Thank you very much to all of you who have tuned in for today. The NCAA is gonna start paying their athletes. Whew, they have totally ran out of options, folks. So I don't know which is contributing more. Obviously, two big things have kind of put this at a crossroad. And these two things have kind of amped the pressure along with a decade of outspokenness against the NCAA, its corruption, and now public opinion has really shifted. You hear NBA players, you hear college players, and you hear high school players talk about the NCAA, and there are absolutely anti-NCAA people all over colleges, universities, NBA players, and the high school ranks. There is an absolute hatred for the NCAA, and now we're seeing it come full circle. Other than the decade of anti-NCAA rhetoric and public opinion, we are now seeing coming full circle. One, the NCAA finds themselves in a difficult position because they are unable to start up their seasons again, which could impact the long-term financial implications of the universities that house sports. The issue with this is the fact that without a college football season, there is no college sports for next year and years into the future. Why they're pressing so hard to get a season started, even if it's in the spring. They need people in stands. They need to be able to play a full football season to collect the television revenue as well as the gate revenue and merchandising, because that fosters about 75% of the biggest athletic programs, regardless of everything that goes on from this point forward. The smallest schools are going to take the biggest hits when it comes to the financial implications of no March Madness, removing practices, no spring sports, or likely fall sports. I mean, let's be real, given the situation that we find ourselves in, where baseball is trying to come back in the summer with no fans in attendance. It's pretty obvious fall sports are very much in jeopardy at the same time. And as a result of this, they realize that they are going to have to make exceptions in order to keep their business model sustainable. And that includes making the athletes part-time employees instead of shamateurs. And this model is actually going to help them in the long term. And for the first time in the history of the NCAA, it benefits them to have shamateurism go away. And by them, I mean the people at the top of the NCAA who collect the massive revenue from March Madness, from television contracts, from gate revenue, which includes athletic directors and presidents of top universities. Those people now have an incentive to let players compensate off their likeness, because now they can make them part-time employees and bring them back as sooner than it may have previously been plausible, because then they can keep this whole business model sustainable by making this small concession. And there's a reason they've pushed the vote to get done as soon as potentially winter of this year, if not into 2021, depending on when they meet, to have it implemented sooner rather than later. It's because it benefits their long-term model, which we knew for about 20 years at this point, that this was how the long-term model became sustainable. Like, we've known for this such a long period of time that this is how you build a sustainable business model. But now what we're seeing in hindsight is the fact that the NCAA now pushing for greater marketability of their top players, allowing them to profit off their likeness and becoming part-time employees, is what's going to help them recognize, oh, this is going to be mutually beneficial, instead of us exploiting the labor through a concept of shamateurism that's been around for nearly 100 years and has been outdated for at least 50 of them. So that's reason number one. Reason number two that the NCAA finds itself in this position is actually going on in the college basketball ranks right now, more than the fear of football being shut down for next year. And that comes from the fact that The second top prospect, I forgot his name, the guy from UCLA, has chosen to go for nearly $300,000 or more in the G League, with Jalen Green, the top overall prospect from the 2021 draft class, the final draft class, which will require amateurs to spend 1 year outside of high school before they make it to the NBA. So that makes 2 top prospects now going that route. After the previous year, 2 top prospects, R.J. Hampton, LaMelo Ball, went overseas to play basketball. LaMelo for different reasons than R.J. Hampton. Hampton, much more like Jalen Green and this UCLA guy, whose name I'm so sorry I didn't do research on before. And LaMelo, because he compensated off his likeness playing back in the JBA, as well as signing a shoe contract and an agent back when he was 16 years old, and it seems to have really benefited LaMelo Ball to go this route in terms of the amount of money he's made, the amount of prosperity, compensation he's gotten, as well as the fact that he still looks like a top 5 pick. As weird as it seems, LaMelo Ball may be, and as the fruit of his loins, LeVar Ball may have ultimately been the downfall of the NCAA's shamateurist model. It's weird to think about. It's so weird to think about that LeVar Ball caused the downfall of shamateurism. That's such a weird thought to think about. But anyways, as a result of this, they realized that even if $0 is what the public perception is, it's clear that agents are paying prospects and shoe companies up and down to get these players. And now that there has been a precedent set over in the G League and you see players going to take that money, it shows that they're getting paid more by the G League than they are from the college athletics. So what we're going to start to see is those numbers go up to meet the G League values, and it's going to be pretty hard to not hide this idea. Like, college athletes are adults, voting adults, and can profit off their own likeness, and that's the way it should be. It's the way everyone agrees it should be, except the people at the top of the NCAA who aren't going to be voted down because they make a bleep ton of money. And now we're finally going to start to see shamateurism go out the window. And it is a win for everyone who is a sports fan in America, a fan of justice, and a fan of really all the principles that America speaks into high existence, but in all honesty don't really exist. It is a big win for all those people today. And if you're going to take away anything from this, let it be that LeVar Ball led to the downfall of shamateurism.